And today now, we just enter the basic information and touch the button, and everything just kind of fills right in. But with all that came the internet, the web, Facebook, and all that has been more challenging, that still, I struggle with on some of those things. But there's always a learning curve and everything, and I'm just thankful for that opportunity. I'm thankful for all of you guys and your support. We see you everywhere at all the programs, and I'm just thankful for all of you and for the community. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for the recognition. The job of working as a supervisor, which I mostly did, and umpiring, reffing, and all that, is made easier when you have good program coordinators and a good boss. And most of the programs that I oversaw was my wife's program, so I always know it was going to be really organized and well figured out, and all I have to do is show up and make sure nobody gets in too many fights or the kids get too excited. But it's kept a lot of the kids out of the system that I usually work in every day, and so I know it's been a benefit. But when you know it's time to retire, you start getting to see their kids and their kids coming through, and it's been a great experience. I'll miss it. All my kids have gone through, some of yours, now some of your grandkids, and we're always there trying to make it good for them. So I appreciate it, and some of these years were when I was on the council, so I know what you go through each and every day as well, and I appreciate the work. I know it's not easy, and especially the day and age of social media, things are tough, but it's also special to get this from Judge Bullock, who is a mentor to me. One of my very first cases that I ever did in court involved Judge Bullock. He was on the opposite side, and I was young, and he was experienced, and he says, "What was that settlement you said you wanted to agree upon?" Just before the judge came in, I said, "This is what it is." And he goes, "Okay, I'll do it, Bulldog," or no, what did you call me that time? Something like that, Bulldog McDade or something like that. Ever since then, we've had a good relationship and mutual respect both ways. So I appreciate it, Brett. Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks, Joe.
don't leave yet. Director Wilkins, you want to come forward? I think you'd still both need to be up here.
Yeah, the McDades don't
McDades
get
need to
off the
come
hook
back
just
up.
yet. So we'll need them to come up, and then after Tyler's done, we'll want to do a couple pictures as well.
Okay. And then I'll give the council
not let
time
them
to,
just get away with that, and without saying anything. On our records at the Recreation Center and the time put before, we have a total of 25 years for each of Daryl and Doreen. And I just, myself, sorry I'm a teary guy, but everything I've known through the Rec Center has been the McDades. When I started, me and in the old Rec Center, Doreen and I shared a desk between us. It was so small in the back room. We shared a desk and just worked right across from each other. And between me and her, we covered all the programs, and there was a ton. And she said, and everything, so many things that we have in the Recreation Center. She talks about the brackets and the schedules. She handwrote those out back in the day, and we still use those to these days. There's so many things that Doreen McDade set up in the Rec Center that we utilize to this day that we're so grateful for her and her hard work. And something that, and Daryl and Doreen, both of them, the impact they have had on our youth and giving first-time jobs. These kids have to come out and do a tough job. They have to be a referee and get yelled at and screamed at by, and Daryl, one of the things that he had shared with me right in front of referees that I still use today is that no matter what, always know that we have your back. That we as a recreation center and we as a city, we have your back. And I've shared that with every referee, every youth, everyone I've worked with, is to know that someone has your back and someone's there for you. Even if you don't make the right call, because we can't be 100% perfect, but we're doing our best out there and giving what we got. And when you know you've got someone that has your back, it makes the job a little bit easier. So I thank him for that, and I thank the McDades. I have a special guest here tonight from the Utah Jazz. Doreen has worked tirelessly with the Junior Jazz over the years and done so much good work. And I want to invite Nate Martinez up right now to give a special presentation for the McDades. So.
Well, first of all, thanks for letting me come. I'm sure excited to be here, and I don't know if there's much I can add to what's been said about Daryl and Doreen, but I'll kind of give a little bit of a scope of what we work with the Junior Jazz program from a city perspective and kind of just a numbers perspective, and then maybe talk a little bit specifically about them. So we work with about 120 different parks and rec departments across 6 different states every year, and about 65,000 kids play Junior Jazz every season. So we've got a very, very wide reach, and it's in a super important program to the Jazz and to the organization, and for the first 35 years, the Miller family, and now to Ryan and Ashley Smith as they've taken over the ownership in the past year. But it's a really important part of what we do. And I'll be the first to say that the thing that makes this program successful are people like Doreen and Daryl. We don't do anything. We try to give them the resources and the things that they need, but at the end of the day, they're the ones with their boots on the ground that are making it happen, that are providing this experience for the kids that hopefully they can't get anywhere else, and giving them a chance to have a connection with the team and with the brand, with the organization, that again, otherwise wouldn't be possible. And as we look through the different groups that we've had over the years and the different coordinators and partners we've had, Daryl and Doreen are at the top of the list of people that we sure appreciate. They've been so loyal and so helpful in doing everything we've ever asked, from running the Fun Shop program for us year after year to being involved in the sportsmanship program. We've awarded them with our Department of the Year, our Program of the Year. They've been recognized in pretty much every way possible that we could recognize them from the Jazz and from the Junior Jazz program. So I think I just want to say thank you to both of them. Thank you guys so much. We sure appreciate you. You've been so awesome to work with. Like Tyler said, I think when we think of recreation in Pleasant Grove, I think that's who we think of. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to come down. We have a couple of gifts from the Jazz for them, just as a thank you and kind of as a parting gift. First thing we brought down for them today is just a team signed ball from the team this year. Awesome season to remember. Not the way we wanted it to end, but still a season that will be remembered forever. First time in franchise history with #1 seed overall in the Western Conference, and a team that we can all be proud of. So, first of all, here's a ball for you guys. Wow. And then we also have for them, as Tyler mentioned, a jersey, their last name on it, and the 25 years that they've worked. So again, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We miss you. We sure wish you best of luck in retirement. So thank you very much.
Yes. Just a couple. Yeah, they're leaving it with a lot of hardware tonight. So from the rec, we wanted to present them with a plaque. Oh, before that, before COVID started, just really fast, Doreen, she hasn't been presented with this properly either, we were having our conference down in St. George, and we literally got the call, Rudy Gobert tested positive, and I was rushing home from St. George to figure out the recreation center. But at that conference, Doreen McDade for 2020 received the Outstanding Professional in Recreation for the state of Utah. Big deal. And so on our plaques tonight too, we also have our 25 years of appreciation for outstanding service to the Recreation Center to Doreen and Daryl McDade. And that's all we got. And bring Sissy, Aaron, come on up, family. Warren. You're gonna have to help hold this hardware for me. So.
Are you strong enough? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, look at me now.
Want you to feel like a model.
All right, you guys gotta scoot in a little bit because I don't have Brent or Nick. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Went through the program with you. That's right.
This is awesome.
So Sid, we'll start with you. Before you leave, I think the council wanted, McDades?
They're already gone.
The council may want to say a couple of words to you, so.
You're not done.
Not done yet. Okay, Sid?
Yeah, Todd mentioned his boys went through the program. I went through the program. Just kidding. I'm not that young. But I did play junior jazz growing up, so and I'm sure you guys were around, just in it during, if you weren't in your official role at that time. And I remember Thurl Bailey coming and having the jazz night, and those were just great memories. My mom had never picked up a basketball, coached us, and so it was just great memories growing up. All my boys have played junior jazz and participated in your programs. And Daryl, I remember on the basketball court, you're always very calm. There's a riot going on with the parents and the referees. You calmed everyone down, and we'll definitely need to find someone that can keep that same demeanor, because that's so important, especially to those kids who are trying their best to ref. But it's so important to have these programs in our community, and thank you for the passion that you brought and commitment, because like you said, Daryl, that's a place for these kids who may be doing something else that they shouldn't be, to go and to be able to participate and be with the team and meet new friends and just gain out those skills. And so just thank you on behalf of my family and myself, because it's something that is very memorable for me. We're going to continue being part of those programs. So thank you so much.
Yeah, my kids, Zach, Nicholas, and Andrew, they went through junior jazz, and they're great basketball players. So thank you for all your work. And Doreen, it's been wonderful to see you at the rec center so often, and at every event. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for all you've done.
Just very similar to, I wish there would be a way that you could feel how many people in town were affected by you. I mean, walking in, greeted with a smile, it is very, very calming. That would be the word that I would, like, it could be a frantic moment where you don't know what you're doing or where you're at, or yelling at the refs, or having some people yell at your children because they are the refs. It's funny how when my kids are refs, they're right, but when I'm a player, the ref is always wrong. But just that calming, organized, professional. It was just a joy to always be in your presence, and I have valued often the words that have come out of your mouths. So I personally am very grateful.
Brent, do you have anything else?
I know the many lives you've touched, and I personally so much appreciate it. As you, Daryl, serve in the capacity that you do, you had a great influence on people, and your demeanor has carried over. I've seen you in your court, and you have touched lives there as well, and I so appreciate both of you for the goodness that you brought to this city.
You know, you guys have made a great impact on a lot of lives, and will continue to make an impact on their lives, just being associated with you. And I know, Todd, I know you guys are leaving a big hole in our rec. But, you know, it'll take us a while to backfill it, but I don't know, we'll never replace you. So thank you for your service, and it's just been great. So, thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
So I'm Kristen McDade. I'm the youngest out of the three of us. So I'm 28, so that means my mom started doing the rec center stuff since I've been 3. So it's literally all I've known. I remember when I couldn't stay home alone because my brothers are a little bit older, are playing in the sports themselves. I'd be sleeping on the heater vents at the junior high right next to the doors. And so, you know, the rec center is all I've ever known my entire life. I've grown up and done both the girls and boys leagues. My dad said I need to be tough. And then I went from being in the leagues younger to refereeing because they needed more referees. So thank you for recognizing them today. They've done a lot. As much as they worked, my mom worked, who knows, probably 60 hours every single week. They were still the greatest of parents. But I just want to say thank you, and thanks to my parents and the rec center. We love you guys.
Thank you.
Now you get to enjoy them more.
I know, right? Now they said they're come work for me at my business.
It comes full
Might not be the
circle.
best thing.
I want to come work at your business.
Come on.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to our next work session item, our victim advocate presentation. If you guys would come forward, go ahead.
We're going to have Jen today. Kim's out of town, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Kim ran out of town on vacation and left me in the hot seat, and Chief said to make it short and sweet. So, I just wanted to let you know, we're coming to the end of our fiscal year, our reporting year. We're looking at that we've maybe served around 210 victims in about 255 cases, so some have more than one case. We're not at the end of the year yet, but that's kind of what it's looking like. I just thought, you know, people always ask, what do you do? What do victim advocates do? So I thought, well, I'll just say a little bit about what we do, specifically our services, because we talk about numbers and services. But what do we do? So first thing, we put together packets that our officers on scene can hand to the victim. And that's for domestic violence, sexual assault, unexpected deaths, anything like that. Because when the officers leave, they leave behind the upheaval that they have tried to do their best to take care of, but there are people left behind and they don't know what's next. So that packet gives them our booklet, kind of some basic information on their rights, protective orders, and most of all, how to reach us. But then within 3 business days, we always try to reach out to whoever is the victim in that case. And then what we first do is, you know, if they're Spanish speaking, we're not Spanish speaking, so we have them connected with a Spanish speaking advocate from another station or another, like a court advocate. And then if the case is going down to Provo District, then we would connect them with a victim advocate at the Utah County Attorney's Office. And we work with them because they are more court advocates. But they will help them through the case, and then we'll help them with the resources. So first thing when we call them, we go over the case review. Tell me what happened. How do you feel about it? What do you know, what are your biggest concerns? What are you needing? Because we have a spectrum between those who have been enduring abuse for a long time, and this is the explosion, and those who, this was just a single family explosion. Someone threw something, it qualified as domestic violence, but they're really upset that the person was arrested or has charges. So we kind of assess what their situation is and what they need. And the next thing we do is talk about the court process, because they'd have no idea usually what comes next. So we talk about how if their person was arrested, then they will have a protective order in place until that first hearing. This is, you know, they can't contact you. This is what to do if they contact you. This is when the next hearing is looking like it will be, and what will happen at that hearing, and then what happens after that. And then The next thing we talk about is their rights. So legally, they have a list of rights. And the things that we do fall into those rights. That's why we do them. So we talk about VineLink. It's a place they can log in online to see when their abuser is, where their custody is. So if they want to know when they bail out of jail, that can alert them immediately so that they know, because we aren't able to tell them when that happens. And then we explain protective orders, because that's the thing that happens at the first court hearing. They can have a protective order connected to the case that our prosecutor can ask for. And that can involve a variety of paragraphs, and we can design that to work around custodial issues. It can have no contact or just staying away or out, no alcohol, no weapons, all of those things. And we talk to them about filing for a long-term protective order if they need one that's like 3 years. It's a little bit more of a process. And part of that process is if they choose to do that, it's a long process. So we will sit down with them and help them through their application, and then we will go to their hearing at Provo District if they need someone to sit in their hearing with them, just as moral support. And then we also, one of the most important things on that phone call, or many phone calls, we always go over this, is safety. And that can range greatly. Some people are planning to stay and they need to plan accordingly. We need to have a lot of safety plans in place. You know, plan to text an emoji to a family member or friend if you're in trouble. You know, pick an emoji that you're gonna send so that if your phone's being monitored, they will know. Or back into your parking stall so you can get away more quickly. Just a lot of things like that. And then we talk about emotional safety and financial safety, identity safety, all of these things, depending on their situation. If they're done and they're trying to get away, you know, how are they going to cut that tie? Plan to go to work different avenues, go to different grocery stores, cancel your appointments and reschedule them. All kinds of things like that. The next thing is housing. You know, are you okay where you are? Do you need to relocate? Do you need to go to the shelter? Can we get you into the shelter where you're at a women's shelter where no one will know where you are? It's a secret location and they have caseworkers to help them. Or we contact our person in the valley that assists with housing, and they can help them with their deposit and first month's rent. Because often these people are not the breadwinners. They don't have a lot of income. That's partly why they stay. And so this helps them remove that reason. They often don't know that's even available. And so that helps them be more empowered to make changes. We talk with them about crime victim reparations or restitution. So if there's something we need to go through the court to have them reimbursed for, maybe a phone was destroyed, their door and lock was ripped apart, we need to get the court to require that the defendant reimburse them for that. But then we also have our Office for Victims of Crime with the state that has a fund that can provide mental health counseling at no cost. It can also provide some relocation services. It can help with medical expenses or dental or glasses or doors, door locks and windows and those kinds of things. So we help fill out an application, get that submitted for them, get that ball rolling so that they can have those resources. We reach out to employers, landlords, academic institutions, financial institutions. So often people are facing eviction if there are multiple calls to police. So we will write a letter to their rental office, for example, and state, you know, this person's been involved in these cases. If you could please waive any fees for ending the lease early. So frequently they will work with the victim because we have written a letter stating, you know, this is the situation, please work with them. And then we also refer them to the Unique Foundation, which has sex abuse and other sorts of programs for victims that is empowering and provides some counseling. Tabitha's Way, Deseret Industries, we refer them there, and sometimes we have some resources through there. And then after that is finished up, you know, we do that in multiple calls, but the next step is we need to let our prosecutor, Josh Bishop, know, okay, what's the situation with this case? And what do they need? What are they requesting? What do we need you to do if possible? And then after that, with each hearing, we make sure that victim is aware the hearing is happening. They're legally required to be notified and to have access to that hearing. So we get them the court link, let them know it's happening, ask them to let us know if they want their protective order changed or if they have any other information to add. Because frequently there are other abuses that are happening that maybe they haven't had the strength to report. And so we make sure that's passed along. And then after the hearing, if it's a victim we know wants an update, then we either call or email them with what happened in court. Because a lot of times they don't want to be present. So we are their medium for that. A few more things that we do. So we will sit in with the prosecutor if there's an interview or with a law enforcement officer. We don't speak in those, but we can be there as someone that they know so that they can feel more comfortable. Occasionally we will go to medical care or forensic exams for sexual assault victims. And occasionally we will provide child care during an interview or transportation or interpreter services we'll arrange for. Sometimes we help with U visas, and we will also help with victim impact statements. When a person goes to sentencing, the victim is able to submit a statement of how that incident or their abuse has affected them, and so we can assist with writing that. Those are kind of our basic services. We have a lot of others, but I just wanted to give a little bit of insight into what we actually do on the day-to-day. Do you have any questions?
Counsel?
Is that all?
I tried to talk fast.
No, I mean, that's overwhelming. And you and Kim do an amazing job. I just had a friend post on social media last week. She was a victim of domestic violence. It was someone that I would never guess. She's a very strong woman, strong personality. Never guess in a million years. And she had specifically mentioned in her post, she shared it to help other people. And she was hospitalized because of the domestic violence. But she had said that she had called the police and they had to break down her door to get to her, and her abuser destroyed her phone, and the victim's advocate not only helped her emotionally, but also they repaired her door. They got her a phone, just as you were saying. And so I've been able to see, you know, that firsthand through what happened with my friend. But the services you provide, I mean, I can't imagine what you see and hear and have to go through day to day in your job. So thank you, because that's a huge resource for our community, for men and women and children, and I can't imagine. So that was quite the list of things that you guys do, and just thank you.
Thank you. It is often those that are in positions where you would never expect abuse to be happening, that it happens. And part of it is letting them know that they're not alone, that this is normal, their feelings are normal, you know, their syndromes of attachment are normal, all those kinds of things. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to say I've used, when I was a judge, your services, and you render a great service to our citizens, and used the victim advocate in assessing sentencing and bail and all of those things, which is critically important. And it's a job, and I'm sure you probably feel this sometime, that goes, it's in the background, and not a lot of people know what's going on, but it is critical that we in this city have victim advocates, and it's something that you certainly have my support for.
Thank you.
Appreciate
It's
you.
rewarding.
You bet.
Jennifer, is this the services you provide? Is this something that, I know generally you come in once a crime or, you know, an incident has happened, but if someone is, maybe they haven't gotten to that level, but they're experiencing, you know, signs or seeing that of domestic violence or abuse, whatever that may be, can they reach out proactively, and would you be the person they contact? Would it be an officer? Like, what would be the proper protocol for someone?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. Of the victims that the number that I had mentioned, several of those don't have any police reports. No one knows they've come in to meet with us, and they can have access to services sometimes depending on the situation, without a police report. They're not ready to report, or they need to get a lot of ducks in a row before they report. So we get people not in our jurisdiction. Of course, we refer them if the situation is appropriate, or we get those that are referred to us from other jurisdictions where there might be a conflict. But we do a lot of times get people who come in and they are not ready to report, or like a friend brings them in or calls about it. And, if someone finds out where we are and what we do, then sometimes they will come in and get help before they ever report. Yeah.
And what's the best way for them to contact you?
They can just call the police department and
The
ask
non-emergency
for
dispatch?
victim services, or just say, victim help of some kind, and they'll send them right to us.
And
Yeah.
by calling that number, they won't necessarily have to report what the incident is?
No,
Just-
not
just ask for-
if they ask for victim services, it just goes to our desk.
Okay.
And that is a private, everything is private with victim services unless it is a mandatory, like a reportable threat or incident. So they can disclose things to us that maybe they're not ready to disclose to other people. And that helps us help them navigate their situation.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
guys. Take
Thank you.
care.
Now move on to our item number 3, and ask Melanie Davy to come forward and tell us about the Charity Vision International presentation.
Hi, my name's Melanie Davy. Thank you guys for letting me come up and present today. This is my first city council meeting. If you can't tell, I'm a little nervous, so I apologize beforehand. Is there the opportunity to do a presentation, or
Sure.
do I just? Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
It was operating at 419, I think is what you said. Yeah.
Okay, so I have it plugged in. And if it doesn't work, that's totally fine.
It is on. At least it's.
If it doesn't work, that's totally fine.
It was working at 419. Remember, Bullock was correct.
At 419.
It
We
is.
tested it.
You also said it wouldn't be working at 4:30.
As technology goes. This is more of a charger port. Mm-mm. No.
We can try it with a different computer, or you can power through.
I can power through. Let's do this. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm from Charity Vision International. I intern with them currently. But I really wanted to present on our Site Buddies program today because this Pleasant Grove is within the Alpine School District, and we work within that school district and Provo School District to provide glasses and just vision screenings for kids in these school districts. But I really like to start broad and then start narrowing in. So I want to present the statistic that 80% of all learning during a child's first 12 years is through sight. So that leaves 20% to like hearing, smelling, tasting, you mean touching. Kids touch everything. And that's still only within that 20%. And I'll narrow it down even more with 25% of K through 6 students in the United States have vision deficiencies. I was one of those students. But I really want to put that into perspective and state that in October 2019, there were about 43,000 K through 6 students in the Alpine School District. So in theory, about 11,000 of them, in theory, according to that 25%, had some type of vision deficiency. And a lot of them are going to be taken care of. They're going to have glasses by then, or just have their deficiencies looked at least. But what about the kids who don't get to see the eye doctors, whose parents don't have the resources to bring glasses to them, or just don't have the time? What if they have both working parents? Most glasses, like ophthalmologists, are open during the working day, so sometimes parents can't take them in. And that is where our Sight Buddies program comes in. Sight Buddies, this is more of the Provo model, but the Alpine School District model is very similar. Our vision screenings are done in school, and then if any vision deficiencies, vision problems are found within a student, they are notified, and so are their parents, and then they have the opportunity to be able to be bused to the Utah Valley Eye Center, which is our partner in Provo, and they can participate in this program where they can choose a frame that was donated and then prepared by volunteers and have their own prescriptions put into those glasses, and they'll be able to see the board, be able to just see the mountains, and just be able to confidently go through life. And this comes at no cost to the student, thankfully, because some of these students can't afford glasses or his parents can't afford them. And so the Alpine School District model is very similar. Utah Valley, in Provo, we have Utah Valley Eye Center as a partner. We don't have that within the Alpine School District. We don't have an eye center who is allowing kids to be bused to their center to just have them do the prescription glasses for us, do the edging. But we have our mobile clinic, and in Alpine, the mobile clinic will be set up at one of the schools, and kids will be bused to that mobile clinic within the school district. Because logistically, busing kids all over from the Alpine School District all the way down to Provo, it's like more than a school day ordeal. And we want them in and out in one school day. So we have that mobile clinic. And along with that, the mobile clinic is taken by Dr. Wilkins, who is from Utah Partners for Health. And he goes around the Salt Lake County area and does similar things with the mobile clinic twice a week. And so over the past 5 years, 950 students were provided with glasses. And that was only over 10 different Sight Buddies events. So we can't do that without the local volunteers to help prepare the glasses, the donors, and just even volunteers who come and help in the local Sight Buddies events. And I wanted to share a couple of not patient testimonials, but from kids who wanted to share their stories about the program. So Andrea is about, I think, said 6 or 7 years old. She received glasses from Sight Buddies, and she was stating how it was so hard to kind of see the board. It was hard to just kind of see her friends clearly, but she really wanted to be a teacher one day. And she was starting to kind of fall behind in her annual eye exams and maybe a little bit in class. But she said that once she got those glasses, she was able to continue in school just very confidently and be able to pursue her dream of just becoming a teacher. It was very cute. I did have a picture, but I can send the presentation later if you'd like. And then someone older, Stephanie, she's about 17 years old, and she had lost her glasses 3 years prior. There was no reasoning on why, she didn't get new glasses, but she just didn't have glasses, and she couldn't confidently, walk around the mall with her friends, that she said, or confidently, do things in school. But then she was able to receive her glasses and be able to go through school more confidently and be able to just, take on the public just in a more genuine way and be able to see how the world looks. So those were a couple of our testimonials. We have so many more patient stories. It's incredible. It's heartwarming, like what we do. So this is what the community can do. We can have the community can receive these big boxes of glasses unprepared if they want to do like a youth group or a club meeting or anything. We have these big boxes of glasses that need to be sorted into different material types and different age groups, like adult, child, adolescent, and we need the lenses popped out, and that can take a really long time. We had, and it's pretty tough too sometimes with the metal frames also. So that's something that the community can help us do. Very simple, very easy. One box can, a 10-person group can probably do in about an hour to an hour and a half, I feel like. Another thing is that you can join our monthly events. Every third Thursday of the month, we're in front of the Provo Beach stage, and we have tables set up, and we'll have glasses set up just everywhere with instructions on how to pop out the lenses, how to categorize them, and this helps prepare for the process of Sight Buddies, and Sight Buddies also appears in other countries too, so that takes care of like certain shipping logistics for certain countries. So that'd be a great service, and there's so many more volunteer opportunities on our website. If you go on our website, charityvision.org, under Take Action and Service Opportunities, there are several service opportunities that are available locally and abroad. So I would also just like to thank you again for allowing me to come tonight. If you have any questions, my name is Melanie. My email is melanie@charitydivision.org, and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. You did great for your first presentation.
Thank you.
So no need to be nervous in the future. My kids, both of them, we discovered they had eye issues when they were in elementary school, so I can attest to the program. So do you take donations of eyeglasses from the public?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and is that information all on your website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so ways that they can volunteer and then also donate as well, because my son has glasses that are older. They're expensive glasses, but if we can donate them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think more information, if it's not on the website, we can send it to me or info@charityvision.org.
Okay.
But even you can come into our office and drop them off on Canyon Road, 32 North Canyon Road.
Okay.
But we know
Awesome.
that a lot of people kind of just bring in glasses.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's a great
Thank
service.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming this evening. Now move on to item number 4, and we'll ask our Public Works Director to come forward and talk about water. Seems everybody wants to talk about water and me sprinkling my lawn.
Probably more lack of water we're talking.
Lack, okay, lack.
So I want to try, and we can try that really quick and then try the intermediate. That's not okay.
Well, do we have the different adapter?
Oh, you have an old surface. You have the other adapter, kind of?
Eric's on there. It might be in that. Yeah, so Eric commented a couple times.
Oh, he did? Yeah. I think he might be. Just kidding. Because he said, is it on? Is he what? He said, is it on? But it is on.
That he's commenting.
Yeah, but now he's coming. It's pretty good. Sounds like he's watching council.
Doesn't got anything else to do, just want to watch council meeting.
Looks green to me. It's nice and green.
Well, I wanted to, I've had a few questions asked recently from council members. We've also been hearing a lot from the state with regards to water conservation, water, maybe issues that are on the horizon here that we needed to have a further discussion with each of you, try to bring you up to date with where we're at currently, and then also just kind of have a further discussion about where we need to go. We all know that, and we shared this back at our retreat back in February, where we talked a little bit about the last 10 years anyways, and this is specifically on Timpanogos up at the Divide, some of the water, and you can kind of see the lower years that we've had in the last 10. We've had a couple years that are higher, but out of the last 10, you can see about 8 that are significantly lower than normal. This has a great impact on the water levels, not only on the surface in our streams, but also in the water table that we take, the aquifer water levels. And we've seen impacts to all of that throughout from the sources that we have. I think we've talked about our wells, our water wells. Again, we have some great wells, some great producing wells that are operating fine. However, we have 4 wells that are currently not able to pump water due to this water levels dropping in some of our aquifers. There's some of our shallower wells, but nonetheless, we're finally to a point where we're seeing that the maximum drawdowns that we've had in the past are now, these are our absolute lows that we've recorded anyways from our records since we've been drawing out of those wells. And so I guess as you say, on the horizon, where is that going to go? And that's what we don't know. As we're sitting today, there's not a big, huge alarm that next month our water is going to go off and you're going to have to get water from somewhere else. That's not the concern right now. But I think as we look out into the future, there are concerns. If next year is probably my biggest concern right now, what happens if we have this happen, this 60% again next year, and where are we going to be and where are we going to end up? That's where we're going to have some bigger questions to answer. As you know, we currently, in fact, it was last week, we did get approved for our bond through the Division of Water Resources. No, it's Division of Drinking Water Board. And anyways, so we are planning to move forward on the drilling of our new, what we call the Boulevard well. It'll be down on North County Boulevard. Is the current place, and we're working towards getting that operational by next summer. So there's a lot of work to do between now and then. It'll be a fairly deep well in the probably 12 to 1,500 feet deep, which will be significantly lower than any well that we have, which is good. Yes.
Marty, just a quick question, just for clarification. Are we talking secondary or culinary water?
Culinary.
So the wells are culinary.
Both are culinary.
Yeah.
But these graphs are kind of just accumulation as far as rainfall.
Yeah.
And so is there a difference for either us or either for the residents on risk of culinary versus risk of secondary?
So with regards to that, so I think that our greatest risk is definitely secondary, as far as having to maybe cut off and stop using as much. This graph kind of represents both in some respects, though, right? This is our total precipitation up on temp, and that affects both groundwater and surface water, and so and this is only one area. One of the benefits we have is that we have a lot of our rights held up in Deer Creek Reservoir. We have storage rights, and therefore we can hold back our water and bring that down through the summer months, which is the intent of those reservoirs. And so that's a great thing for us. Our culinary water is whatever goes into the ground goes into the ground. And we don't have a treatment plant, so that surface water isn't able to be treated and put into that water system. So, but nonetheless, they're both impacted greatly by the amount of precipitation we receive. But so I wanted to kind of give you a picture because we have, probably a third of our city that's using culinary water for secondary water. And everything below State Street and everything north of the Murdoch Canal does not have access to secondary water. They use culinary water for irrigation. And so it greatly impacts all of us if those irrigators are also not conscientious of water conservation, because it does cause more of a drawdown in all of those wells. I think this is an interesting graph, this next graph. If I can get my, oops, I need to go to the previous one. Oh, my heavens. So this is a graph showing since 1928 the flows out of American Fork River to date. So this is this date, June 22nd, in every year. A few of them had to be estimated due to a few things with the measuring weir, but nonetheless, this year we are lower than any other recorded year as far as the amount of water that has come out of the American Fork Canyon since 1928. You can see the last, again, the 10 years, you can kind of see that there's these trends. That red line is more of an average line. And so it's important that we see, I mean, you talk about American Fork and Lehigh and some of the surrounding cities, they get a good majority of their supply of water is coming from the American Fork River. And when that drops to that level, you can see their concerns. That means they start having to pump out of the ground, which is out of the same aquifers where we're taking our water and bringing it to their citizens. And so we are in a state of we need to start talking about what do we need to do to help our situation. As I explained to you further in our last retreat, is that we had about 1,150, close to 1,200 acre feet of water, which we called holdover water. It represents about 20%, somewhere around there, of our normal use, 20 to 25% of our normal use, that we held over from the previous year. We didn't use it. Due to some of the early rains in May, due to some of the way that we decided to hold some things over, I think we got a little bit lucky, but we were able to preserve that. That's why, and the only reason why we're sitting where we are today and not having a very deep discussion about really trying to conserve in a severe way. But this year we feel that we do have some good holdover water, and we do feel that we're in a pretty good state, but there are still some signs on the horizon. And let me show you this next graph that explains that. This is a graph of our water use since 2017. And where we're at, and it's kind of hard to see all these lines, but let me just quickly explain the lines. You can kind of just go by the color, and you can kind of see this is the total acre feet of water used during that water year. Thank you. And so you can see, and every year has been a little bit different. It just depends on the year as far as how much water we have to use. A lot of that is dependent on the rainfall that we receive in the spring or during the summer. It really cuts back on the amount of usage that we need, how cold it is. Temperatures make a big difference on how much people feel like they need to use. One of the interesting things was last year, we used 20% more water than we've used in any previous year.
When you say we, who's that?
The city, our water, our total consumption was here. Previous, we had never exceeded even in this range. It's about 20% more. Now, we blame everything on COVID. Let's throw it there, right? Everybody was watching their grass grow, and everybody turned on their sprinklers a little bit more because they had more, they had nothing else to do. I don't know if that was it. It was a hot year. It was, we had a significant more amount of water use last year. This year, we are in that exact same trend. And if we continue, that red line represents the amount of water we have. And that red line ends right there, which means around September 29th, in this same scenario, we would run out of water, which means the irrigation is gone, we have no water, we can't continue to serve. So I would say there are things that we need to do for two reasons. One is we will, at the very end of the season, nonetheless, we do some years just shut off on October 1st, just if we can, if it's cool, and if we got some good rains and things of that nature. But to be able to get through the end of the year, which is what we want to do, October 15th, we need to do some conservation. We need to do some publicity that indicates that we need to cut back a little bit. We have been really using more than we should be, and we've talked about this every year. We're about 40% higher than what the state recommended usage would be for our community and the amount of irrigable land we have already, and now we're even 20% higher in just 1 year in a jump. Now, some of it's growth, but I don't know that that's it. I just think that people have not been so conscientious about watering, and we need to be more conscientious to make sure that we can get through this year and again next year is kind of the big thing. So what can we do? I'm sorry, Mayor, do we need to end here? It's 5:30 now. I have two more slides here. I'm not going to say where this is. This was yesterday morning. This is what our residents can do. They can adjust their heads. They can be better, more efficient waters and cut back on stuff of this nature where the heads are spraying out into the road. You can see how much water's in that gutter. That's from 200, I mean, that's only 100 feet of curb, I mean, of landscape strip along the road, and how much water is being wasted there because it's not watering efficiently. We can all do better at adjusting our heads, taking a little bit more time doing that. These are some of the things that I would propose to you that we as a city do. So whatever we conserve this year, that holdover water is going to be available for us next year as well. And so I would propose that we look at a way to try to help people conserve. We've heard of the 2-day per week requirements that are being set on a lot of communities throughout the Wasatch Front. I think that there's two ways we can do this. Again, we need to promote conservation, and we need to lead out on that. But one of the things we can do is, beginning July 1st, ask all citizens, businesses, church, schools to reduce their lawn watering by 30%. So I say lawn watering because that's where we can probably conserve the most. Your planters, your gardens, those types of things are not as drought resistant as your grass, which will come back if you give it some water throughout the year or throughout the summer. Reduce time on irrigation timers by 1/3 does the same as watering twice a week. If you can look at your timer and find 1/3 of what that is, if you're watering for 20 minutes, do it for about 12 minutes, and you should be, your grass will be fine. It will not be as lush and green. You could also water 2 times per week on your normal days by doing your odd address. You could do Monday and Friday, and even address Sunday and Thursday. If your lawn is older and more adept to being able to last longer, I would say that would be a good option, is to cut back and just maybe do the Monday, Friday, and Sunday, Thursday on your days, and just skip the one day in the week. This is kind of a big thing for us, and I've talked with Dion about this with regards to all of our city facilities, parks, cemetery. Nobody loves to go to a park and have brown spots and it look bad. I think we need to get over that this year, and I think we need to, again, lead out. If we don't do it, I'll guarantee you our residents won't do it. We get complaints all the time. Hey, why is the cemetery watering so much? Why is this going on every day? Why is it spraying? And we have to lead out in making ourselves, I guess, an example of that. And so I know it's hard, especially as leaders of the community, to see that, but I think that that's what we're going to do. Now, you've got new grass, you've got things of that nature that we're going to have to maybe water until it gets established for a month, 6 weeks, something like that, but then we can cut back the watering to try to help on this. Encourage everybody to adjust their sprinkler heads, not overspray. Encourage less new sod and seed for landscapes. Wait until next spring. I've talked with Daniel briefly, but we do require sod in the front yard to be installed within a year of the construction of your home. And we've talked about maybe extending that and not being so forthright with that, letting people go until the next spring or something of that nature. And then we are looking at adding another part-time water enforcement starting in July. Right now, we have one water enforcement employee that is about 30 hours a week, and he does a great job for us, and we're looking at getting probably another one from between 20 and 30 hours a week, just to try to help.
So basically, we're going to match up with what the state is doing with the governor's mandate.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that I felt with this is that if we can get people to either do either or, it's really hard to enforce a 2-day, because you don't know which day they're going to water, you don't know how much they're watering, and we're going to have a difficult time with enforcement. I think it's going to be it's how we put it out there, the publicity of it, and whether or not people accept and realize kind of the situation we're in. And I feel like either one of those would be fine. Again, newer grass might be better off doing just reducing your time versus older grass might be better just to water twice a week and call it good and try to reduce that. Don't increase your time by twice as much on those days, but anyways, that's kind of the idea.
Mayor, if it's okay, let's take our break, and then
Sure,
we'll
be a good idea.
rejoin this conversation after we're done with our city
Okay.
council
Well,
business.
thank you, Marty.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll take a break and resume here at 6 o'clock for our regular board meeting, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion to have second.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn till 6 o'clock.